identity too. So they have to choose an entertainer, a musician, their peers, a gang.
And quite often the ones with the wrong messages.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, when I saw that link, we carried live the graduation from the University of the West Indies over a 2-day period. And I couldn't help but notice, but when all the graduates were walking into the arena, they all looked, everybody was looking to make contact. And the minute their names were called, rather than look at the dean and shake hands, they looked up.
That's right.
And they just wanted that recognition, that approval.
That's
not from the dean, who was giving them their certificate. They wanted it from the parent, the person representing them.
And we do them such injustice when we are too busy with our jobs, too busy trying to make money to make them happy, when we could spend more time with our families, our wives, our children, to really make them happy. That quality time, no money that you make could be able to suffice that.
Michael, the child may not see it that way at the time, because, okay, daddy's out doing extra jobs to earn extra money, to buy me that pair of, maybe we could show those sneakers.
They're expensive sneakers.
I'm only teasing him. He got it in a sale. No, to get that expensive sneaker that would make me one of the boys, you know, when I go outside. So at the time, you may be thinking, oh, it's wonderful, look at what daddy's doing to give me this sneaker. But what you're saying is that maybe your time would be better spent not working hard to buy that expensive sneaker, but staying at home with your child and going out to sports meetings
and
with your
helping
child.
him to be able to come out, to be able to work for a job, to buy himself that expensive sneakers, rather than thinking that I'm going there, getting it for you, because he's going to go up and do exactly that. He's going to go up and figure that somebody else is going to do it for me, instead of recognizing I need to be able to get up there and do it for myself. So when you spend the time, and sooner or later he's going to recognize, you know, an expensive sneaker isn't that of a priority. It is the finer things in life, the relationships that we build, the connection that you have with your family. And then he may decide, okay, then a sneaker is not it. I'm going to therefore look for something else to get a family like my father had and like my father's father had.
Is it difficult to convince the men? Because many of them have been following a certain trend, and now you're trying to tell them, turn it around. You did it, Michael. I don't know if you had children at the time who then had to do without certain things because daddy has decided that he has a new profession. Is it difficult to tell the men that and to get them to follow you?
Because of our socialization, there is a challenge, but we have more and more men now. When you look, as I come to the airport and I see fathers with their children and so on, you have more men now recognizing their role, not in as large a numbers as we should, but certainly when you go to the clinic, before the only mothers used to take their children to the clinic, I see now men with their children in clinics and in the lawn tennis competitions and the football matches. You see men there now, but we really need to get more men on board with it.
Yeah, you know what I see a lot of now in Trinidad, I don't know if the same trend is happening in Tobago, a lot of fathers walking their children to school.
Yes.
You know, long ago I used to see just the mothers. So often now I'm seeing men with their little tots holding their hands and carrying them with their carrying their book bags for them. And I'm thinking, this is wonderful. What beautiful bonding going on there between father and child.
And I mean, the words cannot explain that. You can't pay for that link between a father and his child. I mean, that is, but in order to be able to get that to that point, there's a need, back again to the adults. If you link a man and his wife, the relationship with the child becomes even better, because someone said the best thing a man could do for his child is to love his mother. And if the child is able to see real, natural love there, then that bonding naturally takes place as a family. So it is really to keep the family institution together.
Sometimes then, what are the mothers' reactions? You know, sometimes mothers tend to want their children for themselves, and you're the man, you bring home the money, and I will look after the children. You stay away, you stay out of this. I can do this, I can give them all the love that they need. Sometimes mothers are guilty of that.
I could probably talk from my own experience here too, because I think you hit a very soft point there. It is possible for a man to get the feeling his child has become a trespasser. Because remember, a man and a woman together courting, a woman gives so much of herself So he's become the entire focus of her life. She goes to town or to the mall, she buys something for him, brings it home because she knows that he would like it and so on. The conversation is around him, what he wants and so on. And then a child comes
Feeding
along.
his ego.
Yes, that's right. And we have an ego, trust me. And we love to have it fed. And all of a sudden a child comes along and her conversation changes. The picture in her purse becomes that of the child. The picture on her desk at work is that of her child. She go out to dinner with your wife and she can't stay there because she wants to go home back to the child and because she wonders if the child is giving her mother trouble and so on. So it becomes a trespasser. He goes to bed, the child is in the bed with the mother. And if that is not managed properly, then you could find, and probably this is why many women are not married to the father of the first child. Because, and that's just there's no study that I could refer to, but I figure because there's a whole process that takes place, a change that takes place there, that we as men don't understand what we are going through. I know I felt it. I felt as though my first son, Joel, took away from me what I felt was I was the center, and he became the center. And then I realized Joel, after my second son came and then my third, because I have 4 children, he made a statement that he wished we never had any other child. So he recognized the focus moved from him. And we all go through that because we don't know how to verbalize it. Yeah. And this is why if I'm out of the country, I've got to call home and speak to each child separately, so that you can't send a message and say, tell the children hello.
Yes.
You see? It's a whole process.
Spend the extra few dollars and talk to them. Let them know daddy is out of the country, but he's thinking of you. He needs to know if you're all right.
That's right.
He needs to know if you're fine.
That's right.
Okay, so therefore the woman at this point has an important role to play, and almost sometimes I feel sorry for women who are in this situation, because as I said, you have been feeding the ego of the man. You know, he has to know he's the center of your of your life, and all of a sudden this baby comes along and you know, starts taking him some time. So the woman has to be, I don't want to say conniving, but she has to be bright, and serve both, so to speak.
Yes.
That's frightening, you know.
It is. You know, sometimes I would listen to my wife playing and laughing with the children and so on, and I'm sitting there and I'm going through the same thing so many men go through, as though, well, hey, I'm not part of this whole thing. So after I sat down with my wife and we spoke about it, at least God has blessed me that I've been able to now try and find words for some of my feelings. A lot of men still haven't found those words to be able to express their feelings. So we have been able to develop that she will now encourage the children, go and show your father how well you do that. So the child comes and says, Daddy, look at this and so on. But what she does, she initiates that connection, and then you come in and say, yes, that's nice and so on. So you are brought into the whole discussion.
But it's very important to establish that connection, Michael.
Yes.
Because it would be very easy for the man to look at the little scenario that's going on and think, well, they're okay, they don't need me. And so then instead of coming home, the mother and she child. You hear that expression? That's she child, you know?
Yes.
But I haven't heard it for a long time, but you do hear it. So the woman now has to establish that connection, because it'd be quite easy for the man to call and say, well, I'm not coming home from work, I'm going out with the boys.
Right.
Instead of coming home and picking up your children and taking them to football.
That's right.
Or saying, I'll go to their football match and I'll bring them home.
That's right.
That you say, well, they don't need me, so I'll go out.
And that's why we as men, we can't be part of the family if we are not present in the family. There's a priority that we need to set as to whether, you know, when you are single, and you could always lime and so on, but when you are married, it's a whole new ball game. It's not something that becomes a prison, but one needs to therefore adjust priorities. What is most important? If I get sick, who is going to take care of me? If I am in need, or I've messed up in my life in some way or the other, who's going to be there for me? My friends, after a while, going to go off in the sunset, because they will not want to be bothered with some of my issues. It's the very family that I have to depend upon. So therefore, we need to be able to spend the kind of quality time, yet at the same time have some time for ourselves. But it must be balanced. Yeah. The real thing in life is really creating the balance that we need.
All right. When I called you and said I wanted to do a series with you and get people involved, we're going to open up our telephone lines in a little while. I said about relationships, and I too am guilty, because when I was thinking about relationships, my main focus was relationships between a man and a woman. And unfortunately, I had put a punctuation there, full stop, period, man and woman. In discussing with you for the past 25 minutes, I've recognized that relationships go way beyond man and woman. It's man and woman and their children, man and his children, woman and her children, you and your boss, you and your co-workers. It's every single time you come one-on-one with somebody or one-on-one thousand with somebody, you're in a relationship with them, okay? So people out there who would like to call in, let's try and hold on to that topic. If you're having problems having that relationship with anybody in your life, call Michael, and he's probably going to, well, not probably, he is going to try to help you to solve that relationship problem, because we need to talk on another day about relationships with people at work.
Well, I would love if we could start with relationship with self.
With self?
Yes, yes. I think it is because we don't have a self to give to other people why a number of other relationships break down. And when we look at it as, when I get into a relationship with you, whatever type of relationship it is, or with my co-worker, with my boss, I'm really giving a gift to you. In order for me to be able to take care of that gift, I need to really take care of myself. I need to give you a proper gift, and I've got to work on me first. So I bring value to you.
All right, that's a big one, relationship with self, because that I didn't think about at all. You know, we just take ourselves for granted. I am me, but we have to work on me.
Oh, we get that right.
Oh, I'm going to be a changed person. As we get ready to take in the telephone calls, we're just going to play a little music, Mike.